Got no map and got no guide, just a good feeling deep inside. Yeah, it's Barry Goosey on the loose again. Let the rambling thoughts just begin. On the loose with Barry Goosey.
Hey folks, welcome back to another very special episode of On the Loose with your host Barry Goosey. You know, it's a very special episode because it's the first one. There's a lot of firsts in your life that are very important, makes your life special too. Like your first kiss, or maybe the first time you hit a home run, maybe the first time you drive a car, or when the first time you get arrested for not having a license. I try not to get hung up on silly nuances. There's not enough life to go around. That's why I created this small phrase to remind myself to live better. It's called BIRD. Barry invites radical decisions. There's not enough time on this earth. Speaking of earth, why do they call them earthworms? Just because they're from the earth. I mean, we don't call them earth cats, you dummy. I don't understand it. Did you know Mexican jumping beans are not beans at all? They're actually bugs. They're little larvae that squirm around. Apparently that's also a phrase you're not supposed to call a Hispanic kid with ADHD at the gas station. Well, as you may know, I drive a truck for a living. There's a lot of things I see throughout my day, and I thought this would be a good platform to discuss it on. Even though I don't take calls because it's not a radio show. I just record it and put it up there for you guys to decipher amongst yourselves. You know, the other day I saw somebody ask me, have you ever seen a baby pigeon? And I read that stuff about birds not being real. Now, I'm not a conspiracist. I know what I know. And the government's full of bullshit. But I do know birds are real. I've seen them, I've hit them, I've eaten them. Just because you haven't seen a baby pigeon doesn't mean they don't exist. I've never seen a brontosaurus, but I'm sure they exist. You really can't just believe everything you hear on the internet. You know, there's a lot of ups and downs, you know. Just like that song, Life's a Dance. Sometimes you lead and sometimes you step on your partner's feet. Then your wife has to spend her honeymoon in the Bahamas in an air cast. Sorry, Peggy. I miss you. Say hi to Rick for me. You know, I get a lot of folks that write into the podcast and ask, Barry, why did you name your podcast On the Loose? Is it just because it rhymes with your last name, Goosey? No, because if that was the case, then it would be called On the Lucy. And I didn't want folks to have any implication that I was on LSD all the time. Reality is, I don't need any of that crap to see other dimensions. I've trained my entire life for it. I see them just fine in our day-to-day. The real reason for it is because I've spent a lot of time traveling around, seen a lot of stuff and experienced a lot of things. And I like to talk about it. Especially since I drive truck all day and I sit in a cab by myself. So this way I get to vent to some, and you guys get the benefits of understanding all the wisdom of the world that I've experienced. I also get asked, isn't it difficult to eat healthy when you're on the road all the time? The answer is yes. So we all know that we can unpack this pretty easily. When we were kids, we were taught the food triangle. We have everything from grains and nuts to protein, dairy, fruits and vegetables, and sugars. Now it's pretty easy when you think about it because I don't get out much. So therefore I don't burn a lot of calories. A lot of it's in my wrist from turning the wheel. So with that being said, I don't require as much, so we can take some of those and combine them together as long as we're getting the main nutrients that we need for the day. I don't need a 2,000 calorie diet. Excuse me. But what I do need is substance and nutrition. So right off the bat, we can take one of our leading ones, protein, and our other one, dairy. Those are key essentials. That's why I like to call it Dairy-Tin. Dairy-Tin is easily found at most gas stations, convenience stores. Sometimes it includes beef jerky combined with a cheese stick, or just the essentials of nacho cheese with the chili on the hot dog. Now, is that good for you? Sometimes. Ain't gonna lie, maybe not the best. So you gotta look at alternatives, what you can handle. Because those will rip your guts up 2 ways to Tuesday, and there ain't always a porta potty inside. The other set of foods that are key essentials to nutrition are going to be wheats and grains, vegetables and fruits. So I like to get those in a combination. I call them graingables. Fruits and grains mashed together. Now grains come in all different shapes, sizes of wheat, breads, donuts. I like hand pies because then you get the fruit and the grains and some vegetables. And I know they don't pack it full of vegetables, but at the same time, a tomato is also a fruit, so why can't an apple be a vegetable? You're probably thinking, geez, Barry, that's a lot of things you just said. How am I supposed to remember all that? Well, that's okay. I made it easy to remember as well. It's called EGMA. E-G-M-A. Eat good mostly always. So anytime you get stuck wondering, well, was I supposed to have more graingables or was it supposed to be more dieting? Dairy-Tin. No, it's just EGMA. E-G-M-A. Eat good mostly always. Do the best you can when you can. Aside from your physical health, it's important to keep track of your mental health. You know, they say to keep healthy, you should do one thing each day that scares you. Well, when you get to my age, waking up is scary enough. But I'm starting to understand what this woke culture is all about. I mean, I stayed awake for 16 days once, and I've never looked at the world the same. Did you know cultural appropriation was designed by the greeting card companies to take away from monumental places like Spirit, Halloween, just so they could refocus the money back on the holidays? I mean, really look at it. When's the last time you've seen a Rasta hat with dread sewn into it on a white guy? Number 2, FUPA. This one's one of my favorites. Stands for F-U-P-A. Finish unsuccessful personal achievements. Just think, you have a jigsaw puzzle that's been sitting around in your closet for 2 years because you can't find the last missing piece. Well, get on it. You have a job now. Order that identical puzzle, dig through it, find that piece, and put the first one together. Put it in a frame. Show everybody that achievement. Feel good about something you accomplished. You know, honestly, I think it's ridiculous that other people can tell you about your goals. They're your goals for a reason. Even though some don't always come full term, people want to judge you for them. I've heard everything in the book about unsuccessful goals, from not being a big football star, not being a movie star, being a dirty truck driver. I mean, are they really failures, or are they just things you haven't tried yet? Just because you don't complete them doesn't mean it wasn't worth the journey. Another one of my favorites is Faith. F-A-I-T-H. Failure always is the harpoon. Because what does a harpoon do? It spears straight through you. And when you have faith and you fail, it feels like you've been struck by a harpoon. So instead of having faith and blind, do something. Take action instead of just hoping. Which brings me to another one. Hope. H-O-P-E. You know, back before driving, I always wanted to be an actor. Back in '86, I even auditioned to be the voice of the mouse from the Mouse and the Motorcycle. Come to turn out, he turned me down. He said there was just too much aggravation and pain in my voice for a child's movie. Pain is where I live. I thrive. Then in the early 90s, I went for a role and audition for the part of Sanker Coffee in the movie Cool Runnings. They let me do the scene for my audition of my choice, and after reading through the script, I thought I picked gold. In my scene, I turned to Darius and asked him, "Hey, what are you smoking?" In return, he would say, "Nothing, man. I'm just breathing." Which, in all actuality, it's a lot more funny when you see it because it's acted out, because he's not actually smoking anything. He's just really cold, and the condensation that's billowing from his mouth looks like he's smoking. Either way, I didn't get the part because they said I quote-unquote did not meet the criteria. So I see everybody's talking about that Spider-Man movie. I was a big Spider-Man fan when I was a child. Thought it'd be pretty cool to stick to walls and whatnot. Remember one time in Tulsa in a rural porta potty, I got bit by a spider right on my arm. Some bitch got me right in my Diana Ross tattoo. I didn't get any special powers unless you consider skin melt a power. Well, by the time I healed it up, I had to get it touched up, so I just had to put an eye patch and a hat on her. Since now I got a tattoo of Captain Ross. You know, I know it's a lonely job, but I feel bad for some of these guys out here. They're looking for love in all the wrong places. Back in my day, they used to call them lot lizards. But nowadays, I see more bearded dragons than anything. Nothing like thinking you're buying a nice supple honey ham and getting a free spring sausage with it. It's a damn shame. Did you guys know that it is illegal in the state of Texas to drive a vehicle without windshield wipers, but it is not illegal to drive a vehicle without a windshield? Well, I had a lot of fun with you guys, but I gotta wrap things up. But before I go, I just want you guys to remember these two things. These will get you through life, no problem. Remember these two little words: duck and dive. Now, I'm sure you want to know what's attached to those, but duck. Don't underestimate collective knowledge. And dive. Dying is very expensive. So if you really break those down, don't underestimate collective knowledge. Meaning there's enough evidence to create factual situations that's going to get you through life. Collective knowledge is key. Dive. Dying is very expensive. So you better hook up your retirement Get your ducks in a row. Make sure everything's good now, because you don't want to leave that bill with your family. Unless you're alone like me. Then you can just die somewhere in a porta potty and nobody would ever know. Until some homeless guy ransacks your truck and decides to joyride all the way down to Mexico. Good on you, brother. Remember, be safe out there.